秘密咧？Welcome, chef.
Hello.
Yeah, nice to meet you. How do you feel about 2024?
Busy year. A lot of unexpected things happen in my life, so I'm very, grateful for 2024. In the Netflix show, and I never thought about being in that kind of show before, but I was lucky enough to participate in the show.
Before that, do you want to be on the show or just very accidental chance for you? Not planned it?
No, I never planned. I always try to stay, focused with my job, and when they approached me, I was actually kind of pessimistic about it. I wasn't going to do it in the beginning.
Do you afraid that people always just remember you on the show instead of being on the story behind, or you enjoy this kind of frame bringing to you?
Well, no, I'm not worried at all. I think what they saw me in how they see me in the TV show also is part of myself. How I cook in the kitchen. Serious chef, I'm serious about my work and ethics, and I have my own standard. I think they kind of portray myself very well in the show. So I think it's very well represented in the show, and I'm really happy that people enjoy the show.
Hong Kong to you, what's the meaning to you?
In the beginning, Hong Kong was a very exciting city for me. But after a while, it kind of grew on me, and then now I come, and it feels like coming to my second home. I'm very comfortable. The sense that the place gives me, the city, the vibe that I get, is always kind of welcoming, and I feel like at home here. So.
When is your first time
When? Before I became a chef or started cooking. I never thought I would have a restaurant here at that time.
But how do you get in touch with Hong Kong movie, Hong Kong culture?
In early 90s, I lived in US. Even in Korea, I remember there was no Korea movie. All I remember was going to the movie video. You could rent a video. I never thought like, oh, Hong Kong movies it's in the trend right now. I didn't think about any of that. It was more like, okay, I have option of watching Hollywood movie or Hong Kong movie, and I chose Hong Kong movies, and inspired me so much about being Asian person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Through that movie. So.
Is it the fact all this make you have a decision that you need to open an motion in Hong Kong?
Well, it's a part of it. People might think I'm joking, but no. Everything, all the decision that I try to make is based off of my experience and then how I feel. And the fact that I love not just the movie, but when I came here, I enjoy the food so much, and the abundance of ingredients, the cuisines, and different types of cuisines, and the chefs and the talent here, very enjoyable. I decided to open a restaurant because I wanted to utilize that energy and those ingredients through my cooking. So it wasn't a difficult decision. It was like I had an opportunity, and it made me excited.
So what's the beginning? You have idea to open a restaurant in Hong Kong, and then you find Dr. Peter Lam, or is in reverse? He found that your restaurant is very good, and he want to bring you here.
I didn't know Lai San. I didn't know anyone in Hong Kong, but Hong Kong people knew me. Many people from Hong Kong that's coming to our restaurant. Okay, I was thankful, Lai San, and they've reached out to seek opportunity, open fine dining restaurant, something that has a Korean influence with this innovative touch.
How long do you need to prepare from zero to the opening for a restaurant like this kind of fine dining restaurant?
We've been open for almost three years. But it's not complete. It's ongoing. It's always evolutions, especially caliber at this level of restaurant. And this, if there's a food and there's a space, some places those are simple as that. You have a place to eat, you have a food, and then you give the food. It becomes a restaurant. But for here, we focus on the experience of the food, and that's what people pay for. It's not cheap. As a fine dining restaurant, we need to have different layers of experience that people could enjoy. And therefore, first of all, we need to have a people, and training the people. I was lucky enough to have great partner here. I'm from US and I have a business in Seoul, in Korea. When I came here, I think the real estate, the financial structure and how they operate was completely different. So I had no understanding of how Hong Kong, the financial system works. Also how the regulation and the law from the government. So I got a lot of help from Laisan Dining and we partner up that we have created a system where I do what I think, what my specialty, and Laisan could support with those financial stuff and the regulations from Hong Kong government. So, I mean, all that needs to be the foundation of the business in order to make this work. It's very important for chef to, I think, meet right partner with the right vision, similar vision. For Mosu Hong Kong, Laisan Dining and myself with the Mosu brand, they also had the same idea about how they want to represent Mosu restaurant with the Laisan Dining Group. We can spend so much money and build a restaurant, but if you don't really have a strong concept or strong belief of like the identity, it becomes empty. It becomes, shallow. It doesn't mean anything.
Just a shell.
So yeah, the value comes from those layers of the thought process that we create, and then we come to life. It comes to life when everything kind of comes together.
This is a very common model that a chef, like your master chef, you need to partner with a group with financial support, or you can just open everything by yourself.
Depends on what you want. I have a restaurant in Seoul that I open myself, but here, without having, just like I said earlier, without having understanding of like what this, understanding the system, how much risk I'm gonna put in if I put in money and I'm doing myself. It doesn't make sense. So I think it depends on where you're at and how you're gonna go about. And if I have a right partner, I think it's better to work with the partners so that you create.
They will take care.
Yeah, it's like a teamwork, and then you put it together. Then you could actually grow, in a larger scale and have more, caliber, this kind of caliber restaurant.
Before you have another partner, is it because there's some differentiation in your kind of vision of food, and therefore you break?
In Korea, I did have a partner, but it was a successful partnership. But just like any partnership, any agreement, there's an end to it, and then we decide, okay, what is the future for Mosu, and for my partner group. We were looking at this, and it was so obvious to separate away. And is it good or bad? Well, it's normal. It's the business.
Just end of stage.
End of the contract.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of people kind of make it dramatic about relationship, this and that. But actually, when you're running a business, it's not about how you feel and the business, the relationship. It's more like, okay, is this the right model fit into our visions that we have, and then where do you want to go as a restaurateur? Where do you want to go as a business partner? Then it doesn't make sense to continue. Then it only makes sense to discontinue with it. So, and then I do it myself.
So, chef, you just mentioned that actually most of the fine dining is a business. Yeah, for business, I need to ask something more business secret or a serious topic. Also, some data online that in a fine dining restaurant, the margin is about 3 to 5%, and some people say it's about more than 10 to 15%. Can you disclose some picture to us that for running a fine dining restaurant?
For some business people, it doesn't make sense. Like for that, why would you even want to do the restaurant? So it's not always just about the financial. That involves many different things, your passion, the wanting to, the cultural aspect too. But just to talk about the financial side of it, financial design that you have and apply in the restaurant depends on the chef, depends on the concept, depends on the size of your restaurant. If you have a small restaurant with a smaller revenue, like a small revenue, and if you only have 3 to 5%, it doesn't make sense. For this restaurant, we sit about 40 people maximum, and then 3 to 5 doesn't make sense for us. So we design ourselves to control the cost of obviously food, labor, and that is really up to us. At how much are we going to make the ratio of the guest amount of the food, the cost of the food, and the cost for the guests. So it's meticulous calculation that we do, and then we forecast. Obviously, we forecast our business to weekly basis and a monthly basis, and obviously yearly basis also. So through those statistics, we try to control our cost. Maybe it's very obvious. We try to control the amount that we spend through food and the labor. I think that's the game that we play.
Will you sacrifice the cost in ingredient or service in order for profit to you?
For me, I think there's always a choice that I have to make. Like I say, if I sacrifice ingredient, then maybe I have a higher profit. But I'm a chef. I have a lot of pride in what I do. Therefore, let's say I have a first grade, top A grade ingredient and B grade ingredient. A grade costs $10, B at $5. If I choose B, then I have $5 more in my pocket. B doesn't satisfy me. To give that and then to show my face and to greet our guests who come here to make reservation, all those, and they made an effort to come to our restaurant, and we're very thankful. With that mindset, I want to give the best that we can offer. So therefore, I choose A. If I choose A, I have a less profit, right? So if I just think about, okay, I need to make profit, I need to make from 5 to 7% or 7 to 10%, I need to raise up for the next quarter. Then I fight the battle of okay, how do I adjust? So I don't jeopardize quality. And some people criticize a businessman, doesn't make sense. Why would you want to do that? It should be higher profit. I understand. But like I said earlier, I'm a chef before I'm a businessman. And I don't think any professions, any artisanship workers or craftsmen, they don't want to jeopardize the quality. But there's also needs some balance. It's a choice that I have.
What's the most expensive? Is the ingredient?
Labor. For this type of restaurant, we do require quality, highly qualified, professionals with, many years experience, hopefully. From there to, there are a lot of different aspect of working in the kitchen or the front of house. So we need from very experienced people to the hourly basis also. But it's very labor intensive. The battle that we have with the financial control is more like how many people do we hire? I think it's one of the biggest things that we have. Especially challenging in Hong Kong for me. Am I going to have a foreigner in the kitchen? Or am I going to hire, let's say this person is very much talented and skilled and have a right mindset, but cannot speak English. You know what I mean? All those things are quite complicated for me.
You will interview them one by one?
Yes. If I'm here, I interview them one by one, because we do want to get to know each other. Because it's very important. It's fine dining food. It's you kind of put your character into it. If it's not a cohesive and collective work, then there's gonna be unbalance in, whether service or food. So we try to create a team that can cohesively work together.
You bring a very interesting question. That's actually most Hong Kong company in Hong Kong is also calculating a lot of people, no matter they are food industry or not. They are very conscious on people hiring. But even if you control, and also if you have can pay the cost, but nowadays people are facing another problem is that they can't find suitable talents for their own industry. In the fine dining, is it also the same situation?
Yes, but I think that's also depends on what kind of food do I want to, do you want to cook, and do we inspire people to come and work in our restaurant, and also do they have a dream to be in the industry and become a role model, hopefully in a later to come, or they could just want to come to work and because it's fun or interesting. But it's, like I said, it's a hard work, and I think this new generation, I'm not picking on them. I'm not saying, but the times has changed. But there's certain aspect of working and being a professional. You still need time to train. That hasn't changed. We could have all the AI information or whatever, all we want, but the techniques and skill set, and then showcasing your somewhat emotion and a technique into a dish or art, any kind of craftsmanship, you do need to practice a lot, and then therefore you spend your hopefully much time. In this case, in the kitchen, training, you might not get that much, the payment that you want, but it's also you need to spend some time in order for you to have some skills.
Do you mean that the new generation doesn't have those patience than before?
Well, I think it's not about patience. I think it's more about they have so much option, it feels like. In their mind, I think they have better options. They use the word sacrifice. I tell them it's not sacrifice. They say, oh, sacrifice because I am working this amount of hour, but I'm getting paid this. If I do something else, I get paid more. But it's more like, okay, if you want to be chef, if you want to, let's say, play basketball or sports star, money will come. But you enjoy the process of like learning. In the case, if you love food, it's a start. Yeah, you eat and you could touch, you could engage with the ingredients, you could create creative process. It's very hard work, but once you understand the whole concept of cooking and being a chef, and what makes this industry and what makes our job so much joyful, then you're not calculating so much. I'm sure basketball players, NBA players, I'm sure they have a dream to become, high pay, whatever, six figure, yada, yada, yada. But in the beginning, first and foremost, they have to love the game in order for them to play day and night. Same thing here. It's about putting yourself into a place where you become better and also you enjoy that process.
Do you know the restaurant Michelin Noma? The chef also mentioned that that's not healthy in the industry, but they can't help to change this.
No, I completely agree, but it's in Copenhagen, in Denmark. Yeah. Denmark has, I don't really have a great understanding of how Denmark work and their regulation with, but I think it's very different than how Hong Kong or Korea, the way we work, obviously the laws and the regulations, but also the cultural side of it. Denmark is quite unique. I've met Renee, the chef, and I've been to the restaurant. They have their own battle to fight. The people that got low pay, the complained young generation, I'm sure they have gained something in their life through that experience. So although this is financial magazine and it is about business, for the young generation that wants to become chef or enjoy their time in the industry, their stages of them learning. And I think when you go to school, you don't get paid, right? Yeah. You only get public education or the education. You actually pay people to learn. Maybe this is not convincing to people, but this is a mindset that I had. So I am getting paid, get by. I'm not trying to get rich and wealthy about this, but it's more about understanding, okay, how can I gain something from this experience? I think that's the mindset that I had.
No easy role for being a quality chef, I think.
There are exceptions. I think there are easy road, but there's such a few people that does it, whether it's YouTube or but those are celebrated in those medias. But there's such a small percentage of people that seems like they're very successful financially in overnight success. But it's possible. I'm not saying it's not going to work, but I think there has to be some kind of what do you say, like a bit of a struggle and a bit of the time that you spend in your life and learning and educating yourself through those experiences.
I think they will have another struggle later after they're famous and earn a lot of money. Maybe some criticism from online, something like that. They pay another cost. But as Chef Jean and also Moshe, the name, now can attract more people to come to work, and also people are very willing to come and ask, can you give me a job? Yeah, is this the situation?
Yes and no. We have limited amount of people that we can hire. Young generation that has a lot of passion, and they ask to come and work. But if not everyone are qualified, obviously. We're very picky with people who we work with, who we engage with, and become a team member. But we give a chance to everyone. It's not about how much experience that you have and then you are such a great chef. It's not about that. The resume doesn't really matter to me. It's about sincerity. It's like, where do you want to go, and then what kind of dream you have, and how much drive do you have to achieve the dream you have. I think those are the key characteristic that we look for, because without that, like you don't want to be here.
Growing up, watching your movies.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
It was my idol. I was actually starstruck. I never really get nervous in front of people. Seeing my childhood hero in my restaurant and enjoying the food that I cooked, almost like a dream come true. Such a warm and genuine smile, and then he didn't have to be that nice to me, but he was such a kind person, such a kind-hearted. The short moment that I met him, I learned so much about when I get older, when I grow, like how should I act, how should I show to the world. So. Fine dining, it's about content. What do I bring to the table? Mr. Chef Gordon Ramsay, he obviously has an empire. Media is not for everyone. Chef is not for everyone. When it combined together, if it makes sense for business, I'll use it as my advantage.
We confirm the season 2.
I'm